Jennifer, so nice to see you. Last time I saw you with Tom and Will I Am, and we were chatting in the Global Studios in London. So this is nice to see you and talk about you, just you, not them.
Wow. Although I miss them so much.
Oh, I'm sure they all miss you as well. I'm sure they miss you, but look, you have been extremely busy, and it's so nice to chat to you. I've got to say, what an iconic role, what an incredible movie. I didn't expect to be in tears so soon.
Wow.
I mean, I was sobbing my eyes out. Um, what an amazing, amazing role to play. As a fan of Aretha, she must have been one of the roles that you would have loved to play, knowing if there ever was a biopic of her.
Oh my God, yes, it was my dream to play her. So I got to live out that dream, to be able to play Miss Aretha Franklin. So it made it that much more of a personal project to me.
Yeah, having watched it and seeing Aretha or Riri and her mum kind of sing talk at the computer, I was originally thinking that we could sing talk this, but my voice is so rubbish. We just chat. If that's okay. So growing up and first listening to music, I mean, we see that Aretha is, performing from the age of 10. Were you performing Aretha songs from an early age? Was she an influence for you?
Well, you know what? Unconsciously so, because I grew up in the church as well, and I learned while doing the research on respect that her renditions of Amazing Grace, Precious Lord, all of those songs, I grew up singing in church as well, and it was her arrangements, and I'm like, wow. So she had always been a blueprint in my life, even unconsciously. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first time that we really were aware of you in terms of, the world got to know you was when you did that audition for American Idol. And that was an Aretha song, wasn't it?
It was a Aretha Franklin song. So I even sit with that now, like, okay, like, who could create that? It's only a story God could write. Like, who would have ever thought me singing that song on American Idol that one day, 15 years later or so, that I would play her?
It is a sign. That's what it was.
I
Absolutely.
guess so.
And not
Yeah.
long after that, though, was it around 2003 you actually met her?
Actually, I met her right after I was eliminated from American Idol. She allowed me to open up for her show
Oh,
in
wow.
Maryville, Indiana. So that day I was so excited. I got to meet Aretha Franklin, hear her perform, and then also open up for her in
Oh,
the
wow.
show.
What was she like as a person?
Oh my God. Aretha was a very introverted person, very quiet, but still had this resilient, strong presence. It felt royal, it felt regal. And eventually we, grew a relationship, and she became more like almost like a mother figure. You know what I mean? Like, she was so wise, and she was very conscious, always knew what was going on. She would ask me about my son. She would know what was going on with him, things like that. And it always blew me away. Like, wow, you're that aware and present. So I miss her a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, I bet you do. I mean, the thing is, did she give you advice or kind of act as a mentor at all to you?
Mhm. Yes, she always would tell me to use, and trust my voice. And she has inspired me in that way. And even in the film, that's the undertone and the takeaway from me. It's like I can't help but to think of what sticks out to me is when Miss Franklin owned her voice, that's when we got our Queen of Soul, So now it's making me want to trust mine that much more and dig in there and see what more is in there, to
I
offer.
guess then it's quite important that you met her and you knew her in order to play her to the best of their ability. There must have been a ton of actors that would have loved this role, but it almost feels like it's perfect for you because you knew her as well.
Wow. I can't help but to think that, like, I feel so blessed to be, the one. And I think of all the other church singers or singers, musicians that she's influenced so much, that is like we all dream and aspire to some capacity to want to be like her,
Yeah.
So I don't take it lightly that I was the one chosen to do it.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many amazing songs in this and there's so many fabulous performances. You are incredible in it. Were there any songs that actually you found quite difficult or too emotional to perform?
Yes, definitely. Well, I think all of the songs are difficult to a certain extent, especially as far as because of the treasures that they are to all of us. You know what I mean? And I'm a firm believer, no, masterpieces like that should be untouched. So how do you approach it to even be able to make sure you're holding on to the context of it, but still, you know, revive it in some type of way? So I was conscious and careful of that and considerate of it. And then the emotional ones was like the Precious Lord and Precious Memories. You know, that felt very personal as well and emotionally heavy.
Yeah. Do you know, in this film, I didn't realize that she knew Martin Luther King. She called him Uncle Martin. I mean, I didn't know all of this. Was there anything that you didn't know? Is there anything you've learned through making the movie?
I you know what, I didn't know that as well, at least not to that extent. Like, I think a lot of us, we look at and know them from those eras, but do we ever put them together, you know, to understand like, oh wow, they work together, or they may have had, you know, some type of connection or relationship when we think of people from a time like that. So it was cool to see like how they existed together and connected, and also helped each other, pushed each other forward and along, you know, and supported the civil rights era. All of that stuff was new to me too.
Yeah. It was so sad that, you know, I mean, Aretha only passed away a few years ago. I know that you were one of the people handpicked to perform at her funeral as well. Was she aware that this film was being made?
Yes.
And she knew that you were cast as her as well?
Well, she picked me to play her.
Yeah. So that must have been incredibly special for you as well.
Yes, ma'am. Very, very, very. And even during that time, it's like, oh, wow. I felt like at one point it was like, I hope you're ready because it's time, you know, and what a time it is.
How did you know that she'd picked you? Did she tell you personally?
She called me and said, I've made my decision. It is you who I want to play me. And that was 8 years after our very first meeting and discussion about me playing her. But she was a very hands-on person. So she normally you get a call from a director or an agent. No, she called.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, that is amazing, isn't it? It's incredible. There's always with these kind of things, there's lots of award chat. This is what happens, isn't it? Film comes out, people talk, Oscars, all the rest of it. I know you've got a shiny little memento, like a little ornament already. Another one would be quite nice though, hey?
Oh, wow. Well, my Oscar for Dreamgirls is downstairs. You're in my home, by the way. Welcome to my home.
I love it.
And then what I've done for myself, like I always like to have a keepsake from all my film projects. So what I did was I got me a Aretha Franklin organ, and I had this beautiful mural drawn of her to keep her presence around. And I created a studio in her honor.
Oh, wow. That's lovely. Really nice. Well, look, thank you so much for chatting. It's not an Aretha Franklin harp you've got in the background as well, is it?
No, that's not the Aretha harp, but I have the organ and a whole studio dedicated to her.
Amazing. Look, thank you, Jennifer. Amazing film. And it's been so nice to chat to you. And hopefully we'll see you back here in the UK very, very soon.
I cannot wait to get back there. I miss it so much. It's like my second home.